All right, dinner time. So during the first week that we brought baby home, mom and dad and really good close friends of ours actually donated some food. They made some food for us. So I don't know if it's just like in Asian cultures, but it looks like there's like this emphasis on like hot or cold food, right? So my mom made some like vegetable soup, and these are my favorite. This is ganjul, which is like sour soup with catfish, and then some greens. Technically, these are food for like Tina. Our friend Justin made some sausage egg breakfast burrito, some chili, rice, breakfast sandos. Definitely accept all the help you can get. Since it's like our first week with the baby, or going into our second week, Tina's doing some cluster feeding. So it is pretty much feeding time, what, every 2-3 hours? All right, so let's get this little nugget out of me, off of me. You smile, baby? So while mom was trying to feed the baby, I'll kind of talk about some of the challenges I've been facing, particularly what it means to go on paternity leave. So I have no idea how paternity leave works. I think it's a very confusing concept. I assumed when you're about to have a baby, you let your manager know, like, hey, my wife is due in like this date. I'm gonna go on paternity leave, which typically can be like 2 or 3 months, followed by like baby bonding. So I thought like paternity leave and baby bonding were two separate things. Little did I know there are one single bank. And I gotta say, like, the whole process has been very, very confusing. And I would imagine some other workplaces is a little bit more smoother than what I went through, but basically, this person that I was communicating to literally just sent me like a bunch of like PDFs to read. And even going through there was already complicated as it is. There's a lot of terminologies I was not aware of, but I've been using ChatGPT quite a bit to kind of help facilitate some of these documents, to just kind of put it in ways colloquially that I understand. So basically, if you're watching this for the first time, or you're planning to have a kid and you're thinking about like going on pat leave, essentially there's two different things, right? So there is the like job protection under the FMLA, the family medical leave. That is like federal mandated. So it's like across the country. Every state has it. You can request up to, I think you can request up to like 12 weeks of family leave, depending on situation. You're going to need like a doctor's note. Particularly, you're going to need like OBGYN, so your partner's physician's notes to approve like how many days they think she would need someone to take care of her 24/7. In my case, it was like up to 2 weeks. And then, depending on what state you live, I think California, Oregon, Washington, pretty much like the West Coast and East Coast have their own certain like partial pay. So here in California, if you are bonding with your child, you can request up to 8 weeks. And that 8-week of baby bonding time should be used within the 12-month period. You can't request it until the day after the baby is born, right? And then you need to upload verifications of like the baby's birth certificate. It's not like an official birth certificate, but it's just a kind of like an unofficial birth certificate that the hospital gives out. And then you need to send it over to the EDD, which is like the Employment Development Department or something like that. I think that's what it stands for. It was very difficult to navigate because I thought baby bonding was just like this one thing. Turns out it's like 2 or 3 different things under that general term baby bonding. So it's a lot of headache to go through. I think I was just really uncertain and kind of anxious, thinking that I need to go back to work like next week because technically my family leave ends after the 4th of July. So today is Thursday, July 3rd. So it's supposed to end this upcoming Monday, which means technically if I don't put in my baby bonding time, I have to get back to work. So what would you say were some wins and what were some loses or some challenges we had during our week 1 with baby Reina?
I mean, it was tough just coming home because we didn't have everything set up at home. I mean, last few weeks when I was on maternity leave, I was able to set up some things around the house, like diaper changing station, put some, like, yeah, diapers all around the house, basically, like makeshift portable changing stations. Yeah, but like all the house was still kind of a mess. I mean, we hadn't really been sleeping in our main bedroom. We'd been sleeping in one of our guest rooms because it just has better natural light. So it'd been a while since we slept in our master bedroom. And I mean, I was just so like hopeful that it'd be easy for baby to sleep and like be able to sleep in her crib. We had a whole bassinet set up. But then that first night, she definitely would not sleep on her own.
She probably slept for like maybe 10, 15 minutes after being fed and consoled, and then she would wake up again. I felt like a lot of her successful sleep was through motion. So either you carry her, you walk around, she falls asleep easily,
Bless you.
or she's a very much contact sleeper. Would you agree?
Yeah. But it was not that case in the hospital, right? Like she was sleeping in her bassinet on her own pretty well.
That is true. I mean, she definitely loves to be swaddled. I think swaddling is a huge plus for newborns, especially for her. She's got a pretty strong like reflex, so the moment she feels like she's not being constrained like in the womb, she kind of freaks out a little bit. So swaddling definitely helps for her. But even like the cluster feeding late at night, she still wakes up, right? Like every 2 hours. Like she's just super hungry all the time.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, now she's hiccuping. Got anything you want to say, Reina? Yeah?
I don't know if I knew what to expect once we brought her home, but I thought it'd be easier. Let's just say. And I mean, one thing that the vet, I don't know why I keep saying vet.
Pediatrician.
The pediatrician, yeah, I gotta
Because
learn
we have
like,
cats.
gotta learn a whole new vocabulary here. But the pediatrician was saying like for the first 2 weeks, the baby is boss. She's boss baby. Whatever, we're kind of on her schedule, and we're figuring each other out too, and a lot of the time we're probably just gonna have to like prioritize her needs first, right? Yeah. So, and that you can never predict what your baby's gonna be like. So it's just been like a very steep learning curve.
Do you feel like a sense of grief after having a baby?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been tough just knowing that a few weeks ago, I mean, even just a week and a half ago, we were very independent and able to do whatever we wanted at any time. And we could stay up late watching a movie. We could just go out in the middle of the day and go get some boba or whatever. And now it's like a whole process.
Yeah. I haven't even watched Squid Game yet, the final season. Everyone's talking about it. I'm trying not to go online too much because I've read a couple spoilers already. But yeah.
Uh-oh, you did?
Yeah, but I'm not sure it's true.
Uh-oh.
But we'll see. Yeah, no, 100%. Like, part of me is grieving too. And I think it's just like the transitional. I'm not saying like I regret having a child. It's just that there's a lot of things that I centralize my identity around, like doing Muay Thai, DJing, stuff like that. Simple pleasures like making coffee in the morning, finding quiet time to do fun things like reading my graphic novel or playing my PlayStation, currently playing Expedition 33. All these different things that I find comfort in is being reprioritized because of this little nugget right here, this little June bug. Yeah. We're slowly hoping things will reach some sort of equilibrium. They say, the newborn trenches is one of the hardest time for new parents. I felt like the same could be said for every stages in a baby's life. Newborn, toddler, right? The terrible two, and then you got like, I think the grade school age is pretty cool because like they can listen to you, they can talk to you, they can express their needs, and then the teenager phase,
Rebellious.
And then so on and so forth. We're parents forever till the end of our life. But I felt like the newborn stage is hard because it's the only stage that we know, and it's hard. It's not that it's a difficult baby. It's just the baby is having a difficult time. And we tell ourselves, the baby's only been alive or, been born for like just a week now. She's still trying to figure things out. So we gotta chill. It's fine, She's gonna be fussy. That's just her way of communicating. I would say it's probably more frustrated on us. It's like we don't know what we're doing that is considered right.
For every little thing, there could be a right thing to do and a wrong thing to do. But also at the end of the day, it's like we gotta figure out what works for us, and hope that we are not like traumatizing or damaging our baby or like doing something that will be like make things worse down the line.
It's like, am I cradling her this way? Is it going to be causing her PTSD?
Yeah.
Or like, is this nursery song that I'm singing, is it going to cause her PTSD? And let's talk about nursery songs, okay? As a millennial parent, I don't really know a lot of songs to sing. We've been singing like Old MacDonald Had a Farm. I've been singing Amazing Grace. I don't know why I like church songs. Basic Kumbaya. And then I'll be singing that one song was like was it like Inez?
Shoddy,
Like shot like shoddy and the melody in my head, na 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 na, got me singing like just like old R&B songs, right? From the 2000s.
That's all we know.
That's all we know.
Early 2000s, millennial here.
Yeah.
Well, she's awake. Maybe we should read your book to her.
Oh yeah. I'll read her.
Might put her to sleep.
You want me to read her book right now?
Yeah, we have this one over here, Dumpling Soup.
Ooh, dumpling soup. Okay, let's go read dumpling soup. Today we're going to be reading Dumpling Soup. Dumpling Soup. Every year on New Year's Eve, my family goes to Grandma's house for dumpling soup. My aunties and uncles and cousins came all the way from Oahu. Most of them are Korean, but some are Japanese, Chinese, Hawaiian. Tomorrow, Marissa answers Grandma, you can help us wrap. So tonight, I watch Grandma mix everything in a big metal pan. More tofu, more onion, more salt, more soy sauce. My aunties keep working, and I fell asleep, listening to the chop, chop, pounding, chop, scrape, scrape. Later, when my mother wakes me up to go to bed, her hand smells like garlic. Auntie Grace puts more filling in the middle than anyone else. I like the fat one, she says. Do you like the fat one? Do you like the fat one? Look at your cheeky, you're so soft. Oh, you got a lot of eye boogers. I gotta watch eye boogers, yeah? Okay. Chaku ha bora, Marissa. I don't understand all my grandma's Korean, but I can tell by her face what she's saying. Don't worry, keep trying. Oh, do you want some dumplings too? Well, too bad. I only go to Costco's and get some Ling Lings, okay? Yeah, I know they're not the same, but they're pretty tasty. So, Tina, kind of walk me through your feeding. How's that been for you?
Feeding, oh gosh, it was difficult at first. I mean, if you've never breastfed before, this is like a whole new concept for me, and um, you go in having almost no idea really of what to expect. Kind of know, like hearing from others, but like it's so different for everyone. I think I've heard very different stories of people's babies who latch well, who don't latch well. I hear a lot of like stories of pain because there's just your nipples go through a lot. I don't know. Starting in the hospital, they kind of start you by just putting the baby on your nipple and seeing what happens. And luckily, I think if you have good support at the hospital, they will not put too much pressure on you or baby at first, because the first day or so, you may not have any milk. You may be lucky to have some colostrum, which is like liquid gold, really nutrient packed early milk, I guess. I think I can't even remember what, like the first time we tried to put baby on the boob, but um, it also really depends on the nurses and like how what their like tactics are, I guess, because some of the nurses kind of force you to breastfeed. I mean, yeah, you can say that you don't want to breastfeed, but
I think it's like the OG nurses, right? Like the
yeah,
nurses who've been there for like 20 plus years,
yeah, like
particularly like the Asian nurses.
yeah,
Yeah, like the old school Chinese nurses.
yeah, they will just like start pinching your nipple, pressing on your breast, doing everything they can to get some milk out. It was painful and not fun. But yeah, that happened. I think we got lucky because she did start latching
Yeah,
pretty well. Um,
like day two after she was born. Was it?
Gosh, I can't even remember. Maybe,
Yeah, I think it was like day
maybe,
two.
but I feel like we must have started a little bit on day one.
Oh yeah. Well, so what happened was like she wasn't able to latch on right after birth, so I had to give her formula because I think you were in the recovery
I was
room for
still
like
out.
you were so out. You were like in there for almost 3 hours. So then I was like, I don't know, should the baby start eating? So we got some formula milk and I gave her a little bit, and she drank a little bit, but she was just pretty much very sleepy for the most part. And I think what surprised me was that the nurse said that a lot of newborns' stomach are like the size of a marble, so they don't really need to eat that much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, don't worry too much about the first day. What did like the every time baby awoke, we tried to feed her?
It's either if, well, the thing is like the goal was to feed the baby every 2 or 3 hours, right? And I think it,
Yeah.
it was much more important in day two.
Oh.
Day one was
Huh.
like, you know what, let's just chill. Baby was just born. They're probably gonna sleep. Let them sleep it through. It was day two when they start to incorporate cluster feeding.
Oh, that's
So
true.
then technically every 2 to 3 hours, even if the baby's asleep, wake the baby up, feed them.
Yeah. So we had a lot of help from the nurses every time they would help. And I just remember uh you're going to be going recovering from whether you'd had a vaginal delivery or C-section, but I will say after having a C-section, I was still in a bit of pain and uncomfortable and, dealing with like an incision site um and still not like able to move fully. So, it was definitely tough because uh I mean, I had no idea how to like even hold a baby. I was not fully comfortable holding a baby. And then yeah, they're making you uh feed this baby every couple hours. I had to have all these different pillows around me.
Yeah, there was like a whole setup.
Yeah, and that like took so long each time just to get the pillow set up. There, like some of the nurses would roll up like a little blanket or a towel for extra support here or there.
I'm not even
It
using a
was
pillow right
like a
now.
whole, yeah, I don't need it anymore.
Oh, you
It was
don't?
like a whole like Tetris setup. All right, I better switch your sides.
Okay,
Where's
she's switching over boob. I think the burping portion was a little bit difficult for me because there are so many different ways that nurses burp babies, but the more common one and the more effective one that I saw was like having the baby's like chest on my forearm, and then I'm just gonna lay the baby facing nose down towards the ground so that gravity kind of pulls away all of, like the gas that's building up right after feeding. It took me maybe about a solid week to feel a little bit comfortable doing it. Um, yeah, yeah. Cluster feeding is not fun, and I'm speaking on behalf of Tina, who's trying to get. Oh, another thing is that Reina, our baby's name, she gets very, very sleepy very fast. Like after 3 or 4, like suck, she just like goes. She just knocks out. So we have to like stimulate her. Pat her in the back, touch her hand, give her a little shake on the back, just kind of a little rub just to wake her up so that she remembers to keep suckling. Initially, the latching portion was like she was having a hard time kind of opening up her lips around mom. Like she was very close lip, would you say? Like she was not relaxing her jaw.
Yeah, and like not using her tongue or something.
Yeah, like she wasn't using her tongue the way that she was supposed to. So this was all very interesting for me to watch. And like I'm over here like trying to figure out like, is this are you in pain? Like is she biting on your nipple? Like you getting blisters yet?
Yes.
You do got it. So so Tina's got like well like the nipple butter. Is that what's it called?
Yeah.
Somewhere over here, over there somewhere.
Yeah.
So
The first 2 times were definitely painful because, you got this thing sucking on your nipple. And then I would say the first few days, my nipples definitely felt really raw. More recently, I learned a trick that has been really helping my nipples. And that's just to not just pull the baby off the breast once you want them to be done, but instead you insert a finger um, where their mouth is so that you kind of replace the nipple with your finger, and that just kind of eases them off your nipple a little bit better than just the sharp like detachment of pulling the baby's mouth off your nipple. So that's actually my nipples have not been in as much pain since I've started doing that. So that's a tip for y'all. Yeah, if you're starting this journey. But I hear from a lot of women that their nipples are just in so much pain. Yeah, from breastfeeding.
it's funny.
It's tough.
Sometimes when I carry the baby and I put her against my chest, she starts to want to suck my nipple. She's like, "What did you?" I was like, "Should I just prank her, take my shirt off?" She's like, "Wait a minute, this ain't mama's nipples, it's daddy's nipples." Anyways, um, yeah, her baby is very orally fixated. Tina's been a champ. She is like doing this cluster feeding every 2 to 3 hours. Um, Not sure how she does it. She's probably running on adrenaline, right?
I mean, at this point, I have no choice. Yeah, I'm the only food source for this baby. It's tough, but gotta do it.
I would offer, but I can't make any milk. Maybe once Tina starts pumping, then I can do what I saw on TikTok where like the husband cut a hole around his shirt, stick the bottle through the hole in the shirt, and wear like a cutout print face mask of his partner to wear it so that the baby thinks it's the mama. I would do that. I would do that. Talk about names. Why we name Reina Reina. So I think we like went through a pretty complicated process of trying to figure out what we should name her. We had a couple of names in mind, right? We had like, I guess you can't really hear me because the mic is on me. So I think Tina and I, we had maybe four or five names that we were thinking. We were thinking of, Raina. And then with Raina, we weren't sure how to spell Raina. Like we were thinking, is it Raina, Reina, Rayna? I think that's it. It's just three. Yeah, it's just three. And then there was Margot. I think that was one of Tina's also personal favorite. Margo, or should it be Margot? And there was like Jasmine, so we can call her Jazzy, so Jazzy. And then for Margot, we can also call her Mazzy, Mazzy. And then for a moment, we had Maiza, Maiza, which my mom did not like because in Vietnamese it sounds like mai, like a ghost, go mai. And then we have Yuna, which was, in the top three for like maybe about a week or so. But then like we didn't know what to name her. And, Reina has always been a name that kind of ruminated in my head every single day. We didn't pick out a name until the baby was born. So the entire time when Tina was getting induced, we were like, we just didn't have a name, so we just called her Baby T. It was not until when the baby was born, about probably 3-4 hours in, while Tina was in the recovery room, I was like, Tina, what do you think is a good name? And then Tina was like, kind of like, still in pain, but still feeling the epidural. She's like, I think we'll go with Raina. Raina sounds good.
I was it when I was being wheeled to the new room? It was after that recovery, and they had put baby on me and wheeled the hospital bed into our actual room that we were going to stay in. Yeah. And I was just looking at her, and I was like, the name Raina just like, that's what stood out to me, and that's what I saw in her before all the other names that we considered, like Margot and stuff. I was just like, yeah, Raina feels right.
Raina feels right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, and then her given Chinese name. Let's talk about that. So you gave her...
Miaoling.
Miaoling.
Or maybe I'm saying it wrong. Miaoling. I forget.
And what does that mean?
Basically, that you have a soul that, or a spirit of water, or a great expanse of water. A spirit of a great expanse of water.
So pretty much you can tell like her element is water. Yeah, I think Tina loves the water tribe when we watch the Avatar. I love water too. Water is also something that kind of plays a strong element in like our family's history. Yeah, Raina, Miaoling, Trin. Alright, so we just placed baby Reina onto the snooze bassinet, which is kind of like a high-tech, modern, automated bassinet that moves according to how frequent and how distressed the baby sounds. Of course, it's recommended that you want to try to console your child before you put them on the bassinet because you can't always rely on that. But anywho, so we just put her in the bassinet, and the cool thing about this is there's like 2 or 3 different settings, and it responds to, the more louder, more frequent she cries, the quicker and faster the bassinet will start to sway. For Reina, right now she's in like the most basic mode, which is sort of at this slowest movement right here. And I have it particularly for it to sway in like car seat mode, so it feels as if she was like in the car and we're driving, and it lulls her to sleep. I found this is the best setting for her. I don't like it to continue to advance to the next stage because I found out like the more that it starts swaying based on her cry, the least productive it is to get her back to feeling much more calm. So I think this is probably the best setting for her. So I have it unlocked in basic mode. This is a pretty expensive device. It costs around like $1,600 to $1,700 market price. But I got it for $300 on Facebook Marketplace from a seller who I think has been using it for about a year now. So when I brought it home, I really stripped it down and gave it a good clean. And, it's been pretty much our bassinet of choice for now. We did have a bassinet that we put together. I think it's called like the Da Vinci, but for some reason she was just not liking it. Like she couldn't lay still, which is weird because like at the hospital she was able to sleep on a non-moving bassinet. But I don't know. I think she kind of got spoiled with us holding her and swaying her to sleep, that she needs a little bit of movement to kind of get her into a light sleep mode. I'm gonna go for a run.
All right. Mwah. Have a good run. Run fast.
Run home fast or run away fast. So this is probably the first time after Brayden was born I had the chance to actually go outside and exercise. Just been, I guess the only type of exercise I've had was going on our walks together and maybe get in 1 or 2 shadow boxing with the baby strap right in front of me. But it's always, with the baby next to me, and that we have grandma, my mother-in-law, it's been coming in to just kind of help watch the baby for a few hours. Thought I'd use this time to maybe put in some workout, get myself back on track. I told myself I was not going to be one of those guys, newly dads, who just completely let himself go and get into like a dad bod mode, which is nothing wrong with that. It's just I much prefer to be at least put in some workout 2 times a week if possible. So that's the goal. So right now we're gonna be heading over to the school track. Probably gonna get a mile in run, maybe just do some burpees. Nothing crazy, maybe get some shadow boxing in. The goal today is just to get some movement going, because I just kind of want to get back in somewhat in shape. Typically most of my workout has been going to the Muay Thai gym, and it's been almost 2.5 weeks since I've been back to the gym, so I think it'll be nice to just kind of get some workout in. All right, so we're here at the school track, not too far from where we live, and of course I got my whole outfit get up here. Got my compression socks that I wear on work. It's from Figs, nothing too fancy. It's the Mandalorian Grogu Dynamic Duel.
basically very reflective of me as the dad, the Mandalorian, and the baby Reyna as baby Grogu. So probably just gonna stretch it out a little bit, get a little bounce in the feet. Achilles are feeling kind of stiff, just because walking at home I've been kind of flat-footed. I'm not a very fast runner, nor am I trying to be one. It's typically, I like to just kind of get my heart rate at around like in zone 2, which is kind of popular these days. Trying to maintain your heart rate in about 60% of your target heart rate. So you take like 220 minus your age times 0.6. And that's kind of like the zone target rate you're trying to aim for. You know, I've done this run probably 100 times. Run over to Cisco track, get in a mile or two in. What is crazy is like, you know, I'm gonna be going home knowing that I have a daughter waiting for me. Whereas like, usually before she was born, I would come home and just think about like, all right, just gonna chill for like an hour or two, maybe just drink some carbonated water, drink some Spindrift, kind of chill on the couch. But it's kind of mind-boggling knowing that I've got a little thing waiting for me to be comforted, to change diapers, you know, like a whole extra set of duty. And I think it still hasn't really kicked in yet. You know, I think part of me is kind of blocking out that fact as I try to incorporate more of my previous day-to-day routine into my newly parental routine. I think the reality will kick in more and more each day. So when baby Reyna was in the womb, Tina would play Postal Service pretty much every single day. And she would even sing Such Great Heights to Reyna every night. It's a self-soothing song, and it's been kind of like our theme when we're trying to put her to sleep. I mentioned, we don't really have a lot of lullabies. This is one of them. This is one of the lullabies. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na na na, gonna be just fine. Everything will be alright, alright. And in my arms of darkness, there was still fire, speaking words of wisdom. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be, oh, let it be. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And when Reina was born, all the nurses said you were so cute. You were crying so loud 'cause you were scared. But don't you worry, darling. You got all the confidence and the bravery in this world. Even though you have just some hair. Oh, Mama T, Mama T, Mama T's is cut open in the OR, but she can't feel nothing. She got the epidural. One little bit of strawberry for one itty bitty baby. Right, Mama. What you got here, Mama?
I'm soaking my succulents.
What kind of succulent is that?
This is some sort of cactus, I guess, but
Cactus.
they're not doing that great, so don't judge me, please.
I ain't saying anything. This is Raina's first bath time. First official bath time.
She got a little hair wash at the hospital.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
This is like a little wipe down for her.
I think it's been, what, like almost a week since she got wiped out?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a few days.
Good job, Raina.
Clean after this.
Yeah. You're doing good, buddy. There you go. Hopefully it makes her sleep. Or not.
Post first bath. She wasn't too happy. Oh.
She's like, now what?
Concern on her face.
Good job, Raina. You did a great job. Great job. Good job, baby. Looks like baby Jesus.
Don't you feel better after that?
Yeah, good job. Oh. Yeah. Good job. Good job. Shh. Good job, Raina. See? Feels good, huh? Fresh like a newborn baby. It's definitely poopy.
Oh gosh.
I think the warm water triggers something in her her butt. So,
It is 5 minutes till 6. Baby won't sleep. Tina called this hour like the witching hour, from the hours of 4 to 5, where there's some witches in the house causing some weird demonic spells that would not put people to sleep. Cats are running around, babies crying, fireworks is playing outside, firing outside. Like, fireworks? Oh, right, it's the 4th of July. Tina's trying to console the baby. Her shift this morning was like from 1 till 6. That's pretty incredible. Just gonna make some coffee here so I can relieve Tina so she can rest up. Here I'm drinking from a roaster called Duck over in Amsterdam. Forgot what kind of beans these are, but these are light roast. I got these beans from a little coffee shop out in Burlingame called The Good Times. And it's a pretty cute coffee shop. I also am sterilizing the baby's pacifier. It's one of the best tool we currently have to help self-soothe her when she's on a crying frenzy. So let's see if this works.
No.
She's already opening up. There you go. That's a good wife right there. No, 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 no. It has been bright early as like close to 5:30 to 9:30, I would say. All right. Hey Alexa, what is 28 times 13?
28 times 13 is 364.
Okay. So probably in the next 2 hours or so, I'll probably take the baby out for a little walk outside, just to kind of, really for me to wake up by, getting some light in my system, trying to get some of these melatonin dissipated and really kind of refresh and rejuvenate my mind and my body. And hopefully this will put baby into a longer sleep as she's being swayed back and forth with the swaddle. Just wait till you see them, stuck up in their nutmeg aprons and t-shirts like it's farmer's market and not a franchise next to Walmart. Maureen shoved the mac and cheese to the floor, where it thumped like a dead body and got up. Let's go. Can you drive? Hai shook his head. I failed my test 4 times. Jesus Christ. She gave him a once-over. He braced himself to the expected comment about Asians and driving. Deep out in the ocean, you know what could have happened. We drowned? Guess again. Really gonna fall off the flat earth? Oh, what's wrong, baby? I'm not sure why she can't sleep. I mean, she was just fed about a half an hour ago. Or an hour and a half ago, I should say. A little minor vomit on his sweater. Hopefully that made her feel better. Just burped her a few minutes ago, and now I'm giving her a little tummy time. Sam, good job, buddy. Good job, buddy. Bless you. Bless you.
So we're going to go ahead and take our different route this morning. Typically I like to loop back the other way. Change of scenery is probably a good thing for both of us. Usually on these morning walks I listen to a podcast. I'm kind of listening to several different podcasts right now. The more recently ones are this podcast that is geared towards new parents. It's actually hosted by a pediatrician. And I found her when I was searching on Spotify how to deal with a fussy newborn and what are some visual cues that newborns tend to do so that parents can kind of make sure they can check off all the needs that the baby is trying to exhibit. So, are they hungry? Do they have a poopy diaper? Do they need to be comforted? All those different things. And I kind of really like her mentality about she doesn't like the term colic. Typically, with newborns, they have a very sensitive stomach and GI system. So therefore, it takes it's really hard for them to kind of digest for themselves. So, burping is one of the big things that they recommend quite a bit after feeding. This isn't like some cutting science. It's just kind of a no-brainer. But for me, it's all very new information. If I want to listen to something a little bit more current, I'll tune into, NPR, or I'll listen to Pod Save America to hear about the state of our country and what is our, political climate is like. If I'm listening to something a little bit more, if I want to feed my soul, then I will listen to On Being, or interviews recently with Ocean Vuong, and sort of the things that I missed in the book that I read this morning. Also wanted to hear the reasons as to why he wrote a certain passage. Just like a nice way to supplement my reading. Hi, kitty. Looking back at 10 years ago, maybe even 6-7 years ago, I was never really the type of person that wanted to settle down and have a child. I think it has to do mostly with my career track. Going into nursing as a second career choice, I felt like I was just trying to figure my life out. And the least thing that I wanted to do was to bind myself to another obligation. Here I am just trying to figure out my career at the very turning point of my life, learning how to be financially stable. There was no possible reason that I think I can bring a child into this world because I was afraid to, I can barely take care of myself. Tina and I, we got married last of August, and we've always wanted to have a kid together, more so in the last 2 years. We settled down, we're here in the Bay Area, I got a good paying job working as a nurse, and it just felt like the time was right, Although I have to say, we didn't plan for us to get pregnant 2 months after we got married. We were hoping we would take some time off, maybe go on our honeymoon. We had this plan of going to Japan or Iceland, somewhere, just like a destination together, because we haven't really traveled outside of North America together. The only place that we travel outside of this country was Vancouver in Canada. So we were kind of hoping that we would celebrate our marriage by going to either Iceland or Japan. Those are the two places that we really love to travel together. I mean, we've been to Japan on our separate occasion, but never together. And so when I got the news that, Tina was pregnant, it was actually kind of hilarious. So this was around probably the end of October. I remember it was on a weekend. I was in the bathroom, and Tina hasn't really gotten her period in the last few weeks. And so, she went and took a pregnancy test. And then, lo and behold, I heard her walking down the hallway and she was like, "Honey." And, I can kind of hear her crying in her voice. And I was like, "What's wrong? Is everything okay?" And she was like saying, "Honey, look, I'm pregnant." And like she waved the pregnancy stick around like a wand, crying. And I don't know if these were tears of joy or tears of grief, to be honest. But, and at that moment I was like excited, disbelief, and like, oh shit, like we just got married. Like, what do I do now? Of course, I've got like 8 to 9 months to try to sort myself together. And I remember within that first hour, the first thing I did was I went on Kindle. I went on Amazon and bought a book about how to rock like a dad. Basically, it's kind of like a pro tip for new dads to figure out what to do months leading up to, her due date. And it really helped. And some of the stuff in the book was like, well, duh. Like, of course, never comment on your wife's weight. Or duh, like, try to help out around the house. Or, be a supportive partner. I mean, those things are kind of a no-brainer. But it's just nice to reassure and bring those up a couple of times so that you can get yourself in the right headspace. Some of the things I've learned leading up to her delivery or her due date was just like the little things, like kind of summarizing what each trimester is going to be like for her. Of course, like the first trimester was hard in the sense that like her body was rapidly going through changes, and she's getting morning sickness, she's getting queasy, fatigue, things of that sort. So it's like if she were to get like a viral infection. So I was kind of seeing it from like that nursing perspective. Second trimester, we were just cruising. That was the fun time. She was eating a lot. We were just, still going on hikes, slowly but surely, and, would have her on the e-bike. We would be bike down to the water together. So we were still going on dates. And then it wasn't until like the third trimesters where things starts to escalate even more further. She was getting much more tired. Her feet were swelling. We were having more frequent doctor's visits, more ultrasounds, things of that sort. So just kind of a nice way to map out what the next 9 months was going to be like for us. So yeah, never in the last 10 years have I thought I was going to settle down as a dad. I always see myself as like the cool uncle, but never really see myself as the dad. So according to my Garmin watch, it says I had about 4 hours and 38 minutes of sleep, which doesn't feel like that. It feels like I slept for about 2.5 hours. Should I do like a dad outfit of the day? Yeah? All right, let's just do it. I'm gonna be one of those cool dads here. Outfit of the day. Alrighty. So here I am. I got the souvenir jacket from Bronson Supply. I think they're based out in Southern California. It's a souvenir jacket kind of inspired by souvenir jackets over in Vietnam during the Vietnam War. I thought it would be a nice way to wear it, as a way to reclaim it as a Vietnamese descent. It's supposed to be a dog. It's got a tiger right here. I don't know what this says. Hopefully, maybe Tina can be able to translate it. And I'm wearing these baggy pants from Grimici. Funny story about these pants is that these are actually women's pants. These are XL. I'm like a 32, but it's kind of loose on me a little bit. I think I'm maybe losing weight because I haven't really been eating as much ever since the baby was born. Just been eating little short bursts here and there throughout the day. But I don't know. I felt like women pants, Grimichi's women pants, fit better on me. And technically they're like all androgynous, you know? So, and it hugs the hips better, especially for thick boys like me. The only thing I don't like, and I think it's just like all women pants in general, is that there's not really any deep pockets. These pockets here, they're super shallow. The only pockets are like the side pockets here, and there's no butt pocket, but you know, whatever. It does have a belt that you kind of tighten up here, which I really like. So, you know, a lot of my clothes have been just for practical purposes. So yeah, nothing too crazy, just Superman jacket and like these Grimichi pants, this brown beanie, and some, what are these, 90s, New Balance shoes. So trying to go for like the cool dad look, the comfy dad look. And you know, got baby Raina here, but she's not an accessory. She's pretty much boss baby. I'm gonna try to see if I can do some pull-ups here. It's a pretty low bar, but let's see if this is even doable. Oh, God. Okay, that took a lot. Oh, my back. That's a pretty bird. Pretty bird sounds.
Powdered on the outside. Mine look a little sad. All different lumpy shapes. One by one, my mother tosses all of them into Grandma's biggest pot full of boiling water. Dumplings, all different sizes and shapes. Shiny. Grandma calls my father for the official taste test. No one knows spices like he does. He bites into one of the cool dumplings, chews slowly, and wrinkles his forehead. What, too Maywo? Maywo? Too spicy hot? Oh no, one more to make sure. I watched the pot carefully for my dumplings. There they are, but some float up without their wrappers, and others look like they lost their filling. Grandma scoops all of them into a colander to cook. We'll eat your mandu later, she tells me. But I worry they are bad mandu and that no one will want to eat them. Is Grandma putting them away so they won't spoil the soup? Special treat. Japanese mochi. She says, mochi means to stay in your stomach for a long time. Mochizuki means full moon. The little cakes do look like in a row. Wow. Only night of the whole year we are allowed to stay up all night. Grandma told us that in Korea, if you fall asleep before midnight, your eyebrows would turn snowy white. But staying awake is easy for us. We never run out of games. Let's hug Grandma, shouts my howly cousin Maxie. This is our favorite game. Good. It makes me a little emotional to read about a story about Grandma. Okay. Oh, what? I'm sorry. You didn't know. Not working for you.
Big shout out to Justin for preparing us these meal prep. This frozen burrito, this egg sausage burrito, is like literally saving my life right now. Cholula sauce. You know you're getting old when you have to stand up to eat because you got places to be.
Wow. I did it!
I'm gonna prep some medications for Mama. So, according to her OB, they recommend that she start taking slow ironed once in the morning and then finish taking her prenatal packs in the evening. So I got here a pill box for her, and we're gonna go ahead and plan them accordingly. Yeah, so when Tina was at the hospital, she actually lost quite a lot of blood. She lost about close to 2 liters of blood after post C-section. So the doctor ordered some iron transfusion to be given. Apparently that wasn't enough to get her hemoglobin and hematocrit back up. It wasn't stabilized, so they actually got her a blood transfusion, I think the next day. And yeah, she was feeling good. She was feeling good after that. But her count were still lower than normal, but it went up just a bit. I think it went up to from 6 to 8. So the doctor says that is pretty normal. It does take some time for her hemoglobin to start reaching equilibrium. So right now, what we can do is just manage her iron intake through supplements. We got Auntie Val, Auntie Renee, Uncle Botany Man, Uncle Scott here.
Out. At night, it's a different story.
She's like very awake at night.
Yeah. Or she just wants to be held the whole time. So,
First few months they're
yeah.
active.
Yeah.
Heart. That means your stomach is working. We like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Stomach is the size of a marble.
Not anymore.
Like a spider. Well, a walnut. Yeah, it's a walnut.
Your stomach. Gosh, it's tiny.
Projectile vomiting.
Whee!
Very large.
She loves doing that, like, hallelujah. He's all over my feed too.
Yeah.
Look at my ankles.
Oh, yeah.
They're huge.
You're okay, Tina.
They said,
Are you elevating? You can put
yeah. I'll do more later.
Can you bring it up? Can I see it?
so much gravity.
Your body just go down.
You're taking pics for her, sending it on the
Oh,
internet.
it feels so weird.
It's a big indent.